Hey everyone, this is Yami, your Latina next door. Welcome back. Today we have February's Look for Less. If you're unfamiliar with the Look for Less, it is a challenge where we take a high-end piece of home decor, something that's a little bit out of our budget, and we recreate it for less. Now for this month, I gave you guys 3 choices to pick for what I should recreate. Honestly, it was neck and neck between A and C. Pretty much everybody wanted A off the bat, and then C started creeping up with a lot of requests for it. So I decided that I was going to do both. However, for this video, I am going to be doing A, and for the beautiful herb planter, I am going to be bringing that to you guys this Monday. So make sure you stick around so you can see how I recreated that one too. Also, after this video, make sure you head on over to Kat with According to Kat, who was my co-host for this month's Look for Less challenge, and see what she recreated. So for this one, we're going to recreate that tray from Neiman Marcus that was crazy priced. The bone tray looks like it's made of individual pieces, and I thought it would be a great opportunity to use the little tower game that you can find at Dollar Tree for this. In order to give the same look as the original tray, I needed to paint some of these little blocks, and I used some acrylic paint in vintage white. Now I will be painting these blocks in 2 different ways. The first way is going to be where we paint them on the larger side, as you see I'm doing here. Now you want to paint a lot of them, so this will take a little while. Just be sure to have something on that you enjoy listening to. And just so you know, I used 6 of these little games. Now, since this was my first time attempting a tray like this, I had to figure out what the best steps were going to be in order to get this done right. So at first I started adhering them next to each other, one white, one bare, one white, one bare wood, and I used basically school glue for this. This is the way I needed to lay them down. However, there was nothing on the back, kind of giving it a little bit extra support so that it would all hold itself together. And as you can see, there were a lot of these little blocks to put together, so I had to come up with something in order to give it a little bit more stability. So I took this frame that I had actually made for another video that I posted previously, but the little cross that was on it did not survive my kids, so I decided to use it for this as the base and support. So I began to adhere the little pieces of wood with a hot glue gun in order to add it to the frame. After my first row was adhered, I went ahead and added all the pieces that I had previously glued together onto the frame. And then once I adhered those, I began adding them individually once again. I noticed that the school glue was actually working kind of like a wood glue with the little wood pieces. So what I did was I used the school glue to adhere them to each other, but the hot glue to adhere it to the tray. I continued this along the little frame, and I made sure to keep the pattern going: wood, white, wood, white. Once they were all adhered, I did give the top a light sanding in order to smooth a couple of rough edges, and then I had to go back and retouch a couple of the white ones that had lost some of their pigment. Then it was time to do the perimeter of the tray. Now this is where the second kind of application applies. This time you are going to paint each of the little pieces on the narrower sides as well as one of the ends. Now some of them are completely painted, as you can see, but that's because I used some of the ones that I was painting for the bottom of the tray that were left over. I went ahead and used those for the perimeter. But as you can see, all you need to do are the narrower sides and one of the ends. After all of those are done and dry, then you begin to adhere them side to side. I was gluing the larger sides together and repeating the same pattern of white wood, white wood. Occasionally, I would stand them upright against the tray to see how many more I needed to add on. After all 4 sides were done and before I adhered them to the tray, I went ahead and took some sandpaper and sanded all 4 edges, since unfortunately these are not all the same size. After that was complete, it was time to adhere the sides, and I used the hot glue gun for this. I tried to make sure to make the tray as tight as possible, leaving the most minimal size gaps where I could. After the sides were adhered, then it was time to create the little handles that the original tray had. Now I just used a dowel that I had on hand that was left over from a previous project. While the tray is functional, these handles are just for show. I needed a total of 2 larger pieces and 4 smaller pieces, and I used my trusty mini miter saw kit that you guys know I love. I used hot glue to adhere the pieces together, and then I took some of my brushed metal paint in the color bronze and I gave them a couple of coats. And while those were drying, I took some Mod Podge that I had on hand and gave everything one thick coat in order to seal the entire tray. I used the matte finish because that's what I had, but you can always use a glossier version. The Mod Podge also helped kind of fill some of those gaps that were between the little blocks. And then the final step was to adhere the little faux handles. I made sure to cut off any excess hot glue that might have seeped out. You guys, this little tray was such a tall order. There was just so many steps involved. And then I gave him a couple of touch-ups. And finally, here is my finished Look for Less Neiman Marcus tray. Alright, so let's see how I did. The original Neiman Marcus tray was $275. I used 6 of those little tumbling block games, and I went ahead and included the little frame that I had gotten from Dollar Tree previously for $1, so it was about $7 because I had everything else on hand. However, even if you did need to buy the dowel and a couple of paints, you'd still do this between $10 and $12 total. So I think that's still a great deal. And while mine is a little bit smaller and lighter in color, I still believe I achieved capturing the original's look for less. Make sure to give this video some love with a thumbs up if you enjoyed this monthly challenge, and let me know what you thought of the tray in the comments below. Thank you so much, Kat, for joining me as a co-host for this month's Look for Less. Don't forget to stop by her channel and let her know that the Latina next door sent you, and I cannot wait to see what everyone else created for this month's challenge. Don't forget, Monday I am sharing how I recreated that wall piece for your herb garden, and I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, Adios.